Oh, it's on mute. I'm an idiot. Can you hear me now? I was like, can you guys hear me? I'm like, can you guys even hear me on this?
Keep this in the podcast.
I'm like, should I just like leave now, or did I get fired before this even started, or what? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of the Target Score Brampton podcast here on the Target Score Podcast Network. Joey Slattery's creation. Let's get some snaps for slats, D. Let me see those fingers.
Snaps in the chat.
Slats. Episodes every Wednesday. You can find it on Instagram, Target Score Pod, Target Score Podcast on YouTube, Target Score Network, Vancouver and Winnipeg too. They have great episodes too. You can see Joey Slattery there too. Now that we got all that out of the way, I'm your host, Matt Bonomi. He is Dhanung Bulsara. He goes by DMZ or
Whoa,
DD.
you used my government name. Good for you.
Yeah, you're lucky I don't have your middle name either. What's going on, my man? How you feeling?
Good, man. Super excited. You and I have just come back from the final day of training camp. Technically, the boys will be playing their first preseason game tomorrow against Scarborough, which we also have the pleasure of going to as well. So I think we can both agree we're feeling a little bit of a rejuvenation about this season. Very optimistic.
Feels like kind of like jitters. Like I feel like I'm about to play, even though you and I would be never be allowed near the court. But anyway, before we dive into all the business on the hardwood, let's dive into D's room here. D, give us a little background about yourself. What's your deal? Who are you? Where are you from? And what do we need to know about you?
I feel like I'm on late night television on your show right now, so I appreciate you asking me about my bio. But spent the last 6 seasons. It's crazy how time has flown by, but covering the league as a sideline reporter. Fun fact, I initially got hired in my first season as an in-game host for the Guelph Nighthawks. And then a little thing called the pandemic came around and decided to change my fate. And next thing I know, following season, I was asked to be a sideline reporter. And it's been a thrill to cover this league and see how much it's grown over those, last, what has it been? Is it season 8 for the league? Am I right on that?
I think so, yeah. Season 8, yeah. I think
you're season 8. So, covered Nighthawks in the River Lions, and then it expanded in Hamilton, and then now it's Brampton, Niagara, and a couple of games in Scarborough as well. But it's been a lot of fun, and I think what's fun about doing this podcast with you is I got to see them raise that trophy in 2022. I went to Ottawa. It was a great time, a great team, and the next season they went to Brampton, and now it's a new era of basketball, and it's exciting, and it's what's been great. Sound corny, but I've gotten to know you in the last couple of seasons as well, and we've developed this friendship, which seemed inevitable that we do this podcast together. So I'm excited.
I'm happy that you used the right F word there, friendship. I don't know if I'd call it a friendship, more or less just podcast partners, I would say. Yeah, awesome. D, I'll give you your own pump here too. D's one of the best in the business, one of the big energy guys, and even today, like you said, being at training camp, everybody knows D, so it's fun to hitch alongside you and talk to everybody that and pretend like I'm your little brother or something. But like you said, we've known each other for probably the last 4 or 5 years through CEBL. Done a number of play-by-play things: OUA, U Sports, CCAA, OCAA, everything from basketball, lacrosse, soccer, whatever it may be. So it's nice to.
That's where you've made it. That's where you've made a name for yourself, though, right? Like your start was with the Brock Badgers and covering OUA.
Yeah, OUA. And that's one of the coolest parts, right? I mean, I was with Brock for probably 10 years and then just had my first season finish with McMaster. But you get to see the CEBL developmental players, right? So guys that are playing in U Sports. And then it's like Aaron Rooms would be a really good example of that, right? That guy can just straight ball, and you get to watch him in Toronto, and then you get to watch him in the CEBL. So it's really cool to see the game translate like that. So, but that's one of the cool things about this podcast too. We're going to be able to kind of give you all the behind the scenes stories, little tidbits of information that you probably wouldn't be privy to if you weren't, unless you were at, let's say, a training camp or a practice or whatever it may be. We'll keep it between the lines, but and then we're also going to have some guests. D, that's going to be super exciting too.
Yeah, we can talk about that at the end, but the hope and goal is to have a guest every podcast and every episode and speak to them and maybe give you access that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. And I like to think you and I really, we're good at our jobs when it comes to digging in and getting the meaty stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. And I also want to flag, because we're going to do this and people are going to go on this journey with us and get to know us. When you're deciding who your favorite host here is on the podcast, I've spent the last 3 seasons with the Jays, so I know where my affiliation is, but Matt is a Yankees fan. So I do want everyone to keep that in mind when they're listening to this podcast.
For half a second, I thought that was going to be sweet, and then that didn't go as planned at all. But anyway, let's take a hard right here. Follow the GPS, Steve. Keep along. Of course, Brampton Honey Badgers, a team that's struggled the last couple of seasons to kind of find their identity in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Last year was, I would say, probably a pretty tough year, D.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it was a season of it's hard to say ups and downs. It was ups in terms of the way it started, and there was maybe some flashes of promise in terms of what we're hoping this team can be. I think it was last season where I had them at the bottom of the power rankings, and everybody was quick to jump on me and my predictions, and I looked like an idiot at first when they came out and won the first 2 games. But it's really funny when you make a bold prediction like that, and everybody wants to jump on you with your predictions, and everything seems like sunshine and lollipops. But then the end result is this team finish at the bottom of the league. Losers. I think it was, they went 1-12. I can't remember what I wrote down. Let me look here. Yeah, finished 5-19, lost their last 4, and they didn't win a game on the road, and they only had 1 win in their last 12 games, like I said. So it's funny that nobody came and said, "Hey, D, great job on your predictions. You got it right."
Yeah. No one is giving you credit, whether you're ahead, behind, whatever it may be. But and it was weird with that team too, right? Because I think a lot of I said they struggled to find their identity, but I think a lot of the identity was in one player. That was Quindary Weatherspoon, right? Obviously an NBA champion with the Golden State Warriors. And at the time he was brought in to kind of lead this offense. And he did so in multiple games, but then it was kind of like the offense was so focused around one player. And as many basketball fans know, or fanatics that follow the game pretty closely, it's very hard to win when one player is kind of your do or die piece, right? Not to say that the others weren't good supporting players. I mean, you had Kobe McEwen, the vet Prince Odro as well, but it was just really hard. It kind of felt like it was like Quindary's offense, and then if it didn't run through him, it was kind of hard to get anything going. So I think that might have been one of the big kind of roadblocks for that team.
Yeah, I mean, they had a plus minus of a minus 240. All right. And you want to talk about the team above them was minus 140. And I think that was the Saskatchewan team. So there's a huge differential between, there's a huge gap, between the best in the league and near the bottom there. They were at the bottom nearly in every statistical category. And I think what was frustrating was this team just was never able to establish an identity. And I know when we talked to Coach Cassimy, who spent the last 2 seasons with the team being the head coach, he really wanted this team to pride themselves on defense, and we saw flashes of that. Right, this team was definitely a hard nosed, get in your jersey type of team, but offensively, right, it was where we saw a lot of hero ball. We didn't see a lot of creativity. There was just too much isolation, and that's where it became frustrating as a fan, because you saw the potential, but unfortunately they just didn't live up to it.
Absolutely. And I mean, you want to talk about living up to potential. The offseason for this team might have been the best offseason in CEBL history. I mean, I'll crown it that. What's the LeBron thing where he goes like this or whatever? Crown probably wouldn't fit my head, size 8 New Era hats. Anyway, but an A-plus offseason for this team, which will bring us into our season preview here. Keon Ambrose Hilton and Sean East come over from Edmonton. Jameer Nelson Jr. comes from Calgary. These are 3 of the top-tier players in this league. I mean, you know how they always do those like power rankings or whatever on I don't want to say power rankings. That might give you a
Too
shock
soon.
from your previous experiences. But you know how they do those, like where it's like contenders are A, and then B is like semi-contenders, and then C is like fringe playoff teams. This is like an A plus. This is triple A beef here, man. This is like everything you could have asked for. 3 players that can run the offense and dominate at their position, and can also do it on the defensive side. So what would you give this offseason in terms of a grade, you could say? I already gave it triple A, so try to beat that.
Yeah, it's funny when we saw the Jameer Nelson signing and we saw the Sean East signing, like the group chats were lit, right? We were already ready to print the T-shirts and get the early banners hung up because we saw what we saw. We know what this team can be, right? Whether they live up to it or not is for us to watch and find out through the course of the season. But I want to start with behind the scenes, right? Bringing in Al Whitley, Leonard. We were talking about, we've learned that for Leonard, owner of the team, it was trying to figure out to learn about the CBL and what people want and how the league works and how to build a roster and how to construct it properly and how to be successful. And what was interesting, especially talking to Al Whitley here today at training camp, he said, "This is our expansion season. Now we know how this league runs, and now we're just gonna clean slate and we're gonna run this team the way we want to, and we're gonna build a product that fans will want to come and see." And I don't know, the way he spoke to us today, Matt, like I was ready to run through a wall.
Yeah, I mean, I said to John Ross today, obviously another addition there with some NBA experience. I said to him today, part of the coaching staff, I said, this is like Christmas Day where you like go down and then you see the tree and there are gifts under the tree and you're like, okay. And then someone is like, oh, come on the next room. And then there's another tree with even more gifts. And then it's like, we got one more room, man. And then we go in the next room and there's even more gifts. Like everything about today not only makes you appreciate the talent on the court, but like you said, behind the scenes, like for those that are new to the Canadian Elite Basketball League and particularly this Brampton team, this is a full overhaul. Like this is brand new staff, brand new management, a brand new roster with only a few faces from last year or previous seasons. So to come together this quick and say, hey, like to be honest with you, D, if I was expecting this to happen, or if someone told me that it was going to be this kind of overhaul and change, I'd say, you know what, they need like 3 or 4 seasons to maybe get into this, and who knows if they even stay for 3 or 4 seasons. But to look at what we saw on the court today, and then to have the personnel on the sidelines, I was like, it's hard to make me be quiet, but I was speechless for the first like 15 minutes of us being there. I'm like, this is like you walk in the door,
which
like
is not easy.
Yeah, it's impossible. Al Whitley right there, standing there. How nice to meet you. John Ross, nice to meet you. Jermaine Anderson, good to see you again. Shout out to Jermaine Anderson too, man. He has been there since the bottom build up to now. Obviously, the GM of the team, man. Rock, he's the man. And then you had Alex Serta there too, the new head coach. Like everybody is saying hello to you, and then it's like, okay, well, it's all good now. But then all the players start coming over, and then it's like, oh, good to meet you, nice to see you. And these are guys we're meeting for the first time. It was the most family kind of culture that I personally have ever seen in my experience covering this league for 4 years. I don't know about you, but that was like, I was mind blown, man. I was like, I literally almost wanted to say, I will literally put on a jersey and take charges at the other end of the court and practice to help you guys get like, this is unbelievable. I felt like we were like a part of the kind of the culture there, but it was easy to fit into that. And I think, like you said, that's like, forget snaps for slats, man. Snaps for all these guys, man. They are just, it's just the perfect mix of professional family culture and quality basketball teams.
Yeah, and that's what they hammered, all those guys, when we're talking to them. It's like it starts with culture, and you can feel that. And I think that's something that's sort of been lacking in the last couple of seasons, right? It kind of felt like for the last couple of seasons, a lot of these players were approaching the season, approaching this team as a stopgap on for their next journey or their next stop on their map. And with these front office staff, you can feel like they're really trying to build something that's sustainable. And I mean, we're totally bearing the lead with this Mark Cuban news, right? Obviously the news dropped that he's going to have a part ownership in this team, and he's someone that really how do I say this? When he came in with the Dallas Mavericks, he really flipped the league upside down in terms of his approach to the game and how a team should be run, right? He was an out of box sort of owner. He really built his reputation on the idea of fan experience and the product and not basketball. Well, people come for the basketball, but people also want to come to the games to have a good time, right? And be able to take themselves out of their 9 to 5 and kind of have just that escape, right? And I think, that is part of the reason he was drawn to, and what was so appealing about this opportunity with the CEBL, because he's got his guy in Al Whitley, who he spent the last 22 years with Mavericks, and some of the other things that present themselves in terms of a business venture and opportunity, right? So I just, just besides the basketball, Matt, I'm just really, really excited for what the Brampton Honey Badger experience is going to be like at the CA Center.
And it's crazy too. I mean, for those again that missed the Mark Cuban news, now a part owner, buddies with Leonard Asper, business partners. Like Dee said, Al Whitley too with the Mavericks. This is an NBA champion. This is a business guy that is second to none. Someone that they expect will help change the culture here. And like Dee said, on the court, but also off the court, catering to the community, trying to get this team in the mix of becoming one of the most popular teams in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. And I will say, Dee, one of the craziest things about that Cuban announcement the other day was this thing right here. This thing was blowing up. I had like 100 people message me, and they were like, "Is this real?" Like, NBA Central or whatever it is, the fake account. They're like, "Is this real? Like, is this?" I'm like, "This is 100% real." And to get that level, like to have the guys that are in the front office now, it was like, this is really good. And then you add Cuban, and it's like, man, this just shows you that these guys are working their tails off to make this thing work. And again, huge shout out to Leonard too, right? Like he's at the top of this, where he's making all this happen, allowing for all these changes. And even last season too, like him coming in, buying this team, one of the last teams in the league to be purchased. And he took a chance on it, and now he's ready to spin it. And also, I mean, I don't want to leave him out either, but Nav superfan, right? Like there is so much going on here that is coming in at once that it is like the perfect storm, the mix of everything. It's awesome, man. It's like I said, I'm like speechless with this whole thing. We'll see how it goes, but right now, all signs point towards great weather, land the plane smoothly, and then you could take off for the season. The off season was a great land, take off, and then hopefully everything goes well. This is an exciting time to be a Brampton Honey Badger.
Well, and just to go back to Leonard, like this man, he knows all about entertaining people, right? And if you don't know about him, he operates the Fight Network, TNA Wrestling, which I'm a huge fan of. And I'm still trying to, work my way in being a special guest referee at some point. So Leonard, if you're listening, please get me into TNA. I'll fight anybody, right? But, he's involved with, a football club in Victa, Game TV, Game Plus. Like this man knows what it takes to entertain people, what sort of resources you need to pump in order for that to happen as well. And, you talk about Nav, and I brought this up several times with the folks that we were talking to there, and I've mentioned it to you as well, is for me, what I've always seen with Brampton Honey Badgers games is there is an untapped market that they still haven't cracked. And, I'm a little biased, but I also know that there's a lot of South Asian folks and a lot of the South Asian community that resides over there in Brampton. And by bringing Nav Bhatia, you're not only appealing to them, but like, you're also bringing someone that's well respected amongst all basketball circles all across the country, right? So it gives you a level of credibility. There's the partnerships with Rick's, which if you've never been to Rick's, like the food is it's fire, right? I can't wait to crush their chicken sandwiches before games. I don't know how I'm going to feel after, but the food is just so good. But again, you're representing the community and what it has to offer. And so I'm excited about that. And one thing that Al said that was really, really important to me is, as much of this is about making money, right? He wants people to experience this and have a firsthand experience on it. And they're slashing prices, like literally slashing prices, just to get butts and seats to see what you could be potentially like. They don't want you to miss out on what you could possibly partake in at a CEBL basketball game. And so I really respect that. I think like for $85, you can get 4 courtside tickets, you get some food, you get some bevies, like. That's cheaper than going out to the movies these days.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, today was so perfect. Like even us watching that training camp practice. I mean, I thought to myself, the only thing that's missing here is someone walking around serving us drinks. Like everything was so perfect with it. I'm like, I feel like I'm watching. Like I feel like I'm at a game. But just to wrap that up, it felt like the vibe today just felt so professional. Like it felt like I even said to you a couple times, I'm like, man, the team is on the court. You've got the coaching staff here. You've got the GM. You've got the Prez. Everybody's in line here. There's like 100 people on the side and support staff. The team is balling. There's 16 guys out there just giving it. And everything felt like a business. Like it felt like the most like we are ready to win now kind of vibe, which was exciting. So speaking of winning now, D, quick season preview to wrap this one up. What are your expectations? You thinking playoffs? You thinking further? What do you what's your feel going into the 2026 season?
Yeah, sorry. And I know you asked me for a grade, and now you're asking for a preview. Now this will tie into.
I'm asking for it all, man. You're not.
But we haven't talked about Coach Serta and what he's going to bring to this basketball team, right? Over 10 years of NBA experience. He just finished his third season with the South Bay Lakers as an assistant coach. Unfortunately, they lost in the conference finals to the Stockton Kings. But this is a guy that is detail-oriented, data-driven, focused. And, it seems that offense is his strength, right? The Lakers were third in the league in points per game. And when he was with the Texas Legends, I think they were first in 2022, 2023. But listen to some of these numbers, Matt. Okay, so they tied for the best record in the regular season, best plus minus in the whole league, best field goal percentage, third in points per game, number 1 in net rating, top 3 in offensive rating, top 5 in defensive rating, top 10 in assists per game, and top 10 in blocks per game. With that pedigree and that sort of mindset, and then you're adding Sean East, who was a follow-up to MVP. I mean, talk about a recipe for success. I don't know why you wouldn't want to come and watch that kind of basketball. And so for me, I mean, sky's the limit with this team, right? I think we're talking about a Final Four appearance for these two teams. I know there's no championship weekend anymore, but I think anything less than a conference finals appearance would be really disappointing.
I agree. I'm going to keep my Coach Serta talk short just because I got a marketing idea for him down the line that I'm not going to share. I got to ask around first, see if it'll work, and then I'm going to present it.
It's great.
Hopefully we're going to get him. We're going to get him on here at some point. That's the hope, is that he's on here, and I'm going to pitch it to him while we're on here. But again, even seeing him today too, like so involved, right? Like the players have so much respect for him, and guys, even talking to personnel and staff there, guys want to play for him. Like, it's like, oh, Coach Serta's there? Good, I'm coming. Like, I want to be a part of this. Obviously, again, like you said, G League experience, connection to the NBA, the right guy, the perfect guy for the job. If I was taking a guess, I think I would agree with you. I think they're going to be one of those Final Four teams. Again, you and I being involved in the broadcast here, I would love to see things go further than that. But I think anything like playoffs minimum, and then past that, I think they're certainly capable of doing damage. Again, we have to see games. Like tomorrow, we're obviously going to the preseason game at the CAA Center in Brampton against the Scarborough Shooting Stars. So if you're watching this, I guess it would be after the game, but it's going to be exciting. That'll be our first kind of taste of what the team operates like.
And I also want to add, right, just as a little seasoning for folks. Okay, we were talking to Jermaine Anderson, I was specifically, and he told me, right, when they went to that awards reception and they were handing out that MVP award, he was sitting very closely to Sean East II. And when it was Mitch Creek's name that was announced, he saw his body language. He saw Sean East and how disappointed he was. And so when there was off-season conversations about potentially joining this team, and for those listening, Sean East wanted to come to Brampton. He's the one that pitched the idea. And a big part of that was because of his relationship with Serta. But what Jermaine said to Sean East, he said, hey, let's give you the car keys and let's get you that MVP. And it's not every day. Listen, Honey Badgers fans, it's not every day you get a player of Sean East's caliber to rep your team and to run your ship. So that's the reason you should be coming to basketball games this year.
I think that's a very easy sell. I completely agree. Like we said, preseason game tomorrow. That would be on Tuesday morning. You and I will be there. First couple of games coming up. We start this weekend. Friday they'll host the Ottawa Blackjacks, and then on Sunday they'll get the Calgary Surge. That's 7:30 on Friday, and then 4 p.m. on Sunday. We hope to see you at the games. If not, you can catch them all on CBC Gem or on YouTube as well. But D, yeah.
I was gonna say this Brampton team is gonna be tested real early here, right? You're gonna see Ottawa twice. You're gonna see Javonte Smart, who is going to be in the MVP conversation at the end of this season, and then we got some, we got an NBA connection in Justin Mazzulla, a brother of Joe Mazzulla of the Boston Celtics, who makes his debut for the Blackjacks as well. So it's gonna be fun, man. I don't know what else to tell you. And then I don't want to undersell Calgary as well. That's a team that's been in the Final Four as well in the last couple of seasons. So, they always find a way to put themselves in that championship window as well.
And you mentioned
Oh, yeah.
Ottawa too. The Javonte Smart stuff. I mean, 44 points against the River Lions last year, the back-to-back champions. I mean, that guy can straight up ball, which is exciting. So, like you said, we'll get to a taste of him on Friday in his game. The thing that I think a lot of people wanted to watch also was the Jameer Nelson Jr. game against his old team, Calgary. That's the game on Sunday. But if those, again, that aren't familiar with the CEBL, players come from overseas, from other leagues, and then they join the Canadian League Basketball League throughout the season. Sometimes they need to depart early if they have deals with teams later in the season, later in the summer, whatever it may be. So Jameer Nelson Jr. is planning on coming. That's the latest we heard. TBD as to when, but the hope is at some point this season we'll see him, D.
Yeah, we'll see him. Also, Hilton as well, right? Ambrose will be joining the team. I think he's in Germany right now, fulfilling his off-season duties, like Jameer, I think, is with Puerto Rico as well. That's the thing about the CBL season, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. And the version of this team that you see this weekend will not necessarily be the team that you see in August. And that's why I have a great deal of respect for these front offices and coaches, because it's trying to tread water till you get to championship weekend, and then trying to get the ultimate prize at the end of the season. So, but the roster that we did see out there today is going to be a fun one. It's going to be flying, and I'm excited to see what kind of damage they do in the first quarter of this season.
And that's the one thing too, right? I mean, like in the past, let's say even last season, like you lose a player like David Mooncat, one of the best players in the Canadian League Basketball League, and then it's like, okay, well, we're missing a big piece. How do we fill that the bucket with baskets still? How do we provide the defense that he was able to bring to the table? And then you kind of have to piece it together. With this team that we saw today, it was like, oh yeah, I can take one of these guys off the court, and then we've got three guys that are ready to fill in right behind him. So it's like, this is the richest this team has been in terms of depth, I think, probably again in the last couple of years. And that's something that they most certainly will rely on. But this is how like if you look at the River Lions, for example, the last two seasons, that is a deep team. Victor Razzo went to town putting together Canadian talent, signing players from outside of Canada. There were always guys in line ready to go. And that's why, again, they're two-time or back-to-back champions. And that's the kind of feel you have around this team too, right? Like it feels like, oh, okay, well, we took a fork out of the drawer. We don't have any forks left. What do you mean? You open the drawer, there are 1,000 forks in there, right? You're still eating. Horrible analogy. Yeah, but you know what I mean, right? Like the depth is there.
And Vancouver and Niagara are the perfect examples of how to be successful. They have built a culture, right? They've built a consistency. You know what to expect with these teams, and it should be just plug and play, and then you should be able to be successful in the course of the season. Of course, injuries and guys leaving teams are going to happen, but if anything that those two teams have shown us, in the last couple of years is, if you build it, they will come. It's a movie reference. Stuff, hopefully man. You get it.
Yeah, anytime you for anybody that doesn't know, D is like a huge movie guy. He actually spends more time in the movie theaters than his own house, which is kind of shocking. But
I tell my wife too.
I gotta ask Joey this. I gotta ask Joey this too. We've never been invited, so I think this might be the last podcast we ever do together. Anyway, yeah. Super excited for this season. It's going to be a ton of fun. Like we said, we'll be on the call on Friday, Sunday. And then hopefully see a lot of people in the arena. There's a lot of buzz. Like I said, social media is bumping. People are messaging nonstop. It's like, how do we get tickets? Where do we go? It is going to be the spot of the summer, I think.
Brampton, like I'm telling you right now, Brampton, you have no excuses. All right. You're going to have a great basketball product to watch. I have my biases, but I know the DJ, I know the in-game host. They're going to bring the vibes. It's going to be a great time. I think it's going to be a cultural experience. You know, much credit to Scarborough. When you go to a Scarborough game, you know you're in the city, and I think Brampton's trying to create that same atmosphere. And I mean, there's just so much to look forward to with this team, and I don't want anybody to miss out on that. This is your opportunity to get your foot in the building and establish a relationship with this team. And I'm telling you, from top to bottom, it's something that you'll want to be associated with.
Yeah, you're talking about knowing the DJ and knowing the PA and whatever. What about Rick? How do we get connections with Rick's Chicken here, or whatever it was?
Oh yeah, yo, Rick, if you're listening, throw the guys a couple sandwiches.
Plug, Rick. Come on, Rick. I'll send you my address right now. I'll wait in my driveway if you can. Hey, if you can.
Shelby's too. If you've ever had a Shelby shawarma, you know they slap.
This is going to turn into a plug. It's going to be a 30-minute shameless plug next week. Everything we can think of. Best Buy got any deals coming up? Yeah, quick reminder though, again, every Wednesday we'll be dropping episodes. You can find the Target Score Pod on Instagram, the Target Score Podcast on YouTube, and then of course, like we said, tune into Vancouver and Winnipeg. Again, shout out to Joey Slattery for making this all possible for D&ID. Final thoughts, anything going into the season?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, I'm excited. This is episode 1. It's kind of a snack size, but, you know, it'll continue to evolve as we, you know, we roll out through the rest of the season. One thing we've failed to mention is, you know, future episodes will feature guests. So, you know, let us know in the comments. Fill up Joey's email inbox with guests that you potentially want to see here as well. And yeah, it's going to drop every Wednesday, and I'm excited to start this journey with you, Matt. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think, you know, there's a version of us on the broadcast that you see, but then there's this other version, and I think people are really going to get to know us on a different level and see how close we actually are.
Yeah, just be careful. The ink's not dry yet on my contract here, so I might be able to pull out last second.
Is that a Brinks truck in front of my car at my house right now?
No, it's Rick's Chicken. That's what it is. Get out there.
Oh, that's what that smell is. Okay.
Awesome stuff. Well, good stuff, D. As always, a blast with you. This was the first ever episode of the Target Score Brampton podcast. Again, like we said, every Wednesdays. Every Wednesday. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.
呱呱呱。